Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Kelvecchio Sports. My name is Kelvin and big news coming out. The rumors are going on everywhere. It's been blowing up online for the last few days. Manchester City, yes, you heard that right. Manchester City is about to be handed the verdict of the 115 charges. Now, if you are to believe what the rumors online are saying, it could be as soon as June 2026, right? So right before the World Cup, in fact, while the World Cup is going on, we could have the verdict being delivered. And if you've been following this story, you know that this has been going on for years, right? Other clubs have been charged, found guilty, given verdicts. But Man City, in essence, what they've been doing is they've been fighting this tooth and nail. They've been denying every single charge. They've even gone as far as not complying with requests for information. Now, I want to let you know something about my background. I'm an auditor, financial auditor by profession. I have an accounting background, and I've spent my entire career as a financial professional auditing. And I can tell you that if there's one thing you do not do, it is to withhold information and not comply, especially when you're undergoing an audit, right? And this has been Man City's tactic, right? If you look back a few years ago when UEFA fined them, Man City did the exact same thing. They refused to comply. Of course, they denied the allegations, but they essentially refused to comply, refused to hand over documents, refused to submit information. And if you refuse to provide information, right, to the outside world, to third parties, people like myself, to auditors, that implies guilt. It doesn't mean that you're guilty, of course. There still has to be an investigation, but your refusal to comply, to supply the support or deliverables, says, in the opinion of many people, including myself, that hey, you're guilty as hell and you're hiding something, right? And this has been Man City's tactics over the years. They've just dug their heels in, said, you know what, we're innocent. But not only that, we are not complying with your request, and we are not going to provide you with the requested information. And as a result, we're just going to make your life a living hell, make it really difficult for you to prove anything. And as a neutral, in fact, I'm not a neutral, I'm an Arsenal fan, right? But I found Man City to be so repulsive because, of course, we know the charges go from, I believe, 2008, 2007 to 2018. So it's a 10-year period, which is essentially the bedrock of Man City's success, right? This period of time in which they allegedly broke the rules, did financial doping, breached PSR, right? The 115 charges. This basically built the Man City dynasty as we know it today. So many of their signings, so many of their financial might, right? The financial doping occurred during that period. And Man City would not have won so many trophies. They would not have been so successful if they didn't go and break the rules, in my opinion, allegedly. All right, I believe they're guilty. I believe they definitely did stuff that's wrong. But the question is, can one team be so powerful, right? Use lawfare, not warfare, but lawfare. Use legal teams and lawyers, and of course, we know Man City has a ton of money, and they've been fighting this case like you wouldn't believe, right? But can one team with enough financial power basically obscure and prevent the Premier League investigators from doing their job? Can one team with so much financial power like Man City has just say, you know what, screw the system? And I think Man City, basically what they've done is to bring the entire league into disrepute, right? So the Premier League has to act, and that's why I believe that simply deducting points is not going to be enough. I think Man City will be relegated. I think some of the titles may be stripped, and I don't want the titles to be stripped. I believe, you know, they won it on the pitch. That's fair game. But in terms of how they got there, of course, I believe that they cheated. So I believe that the penalties should be severe, and for the very least, they should be relegated, right? And the big question is that why Pep is leaving? Right? Many people are arguing that, yeah, Pep has gotten some inside information. He knows what's coming. He's like that rat who's jumping ship because he knows, hey, I don't want my legacy to be tarnished. I don't want to be around when this thing goes down. So is that why Pep has left? Because last season we saw him kind of being burnt out. We saw him getting tired. We saw him kind of needing a break. But then this season he's rebuilt the team. Of course, they won the 2 cups this year. And I just want to read you something in terms of what people believe is the process which should happen and which may happen in terms of if the news and the verdict is released as soon as June. So here's how, and I took this from an account online. This is from on X. The username is Magic Hat. It's at the Magic Hat _top hat. And here's what he says how the process should have played out, right? Number 1, there's a written decision on liability, i.e. which charges Man City is guilty of and why. This is released to parties but not released publicly. Number 2, the Premier League and Man City have another private hearing where they argue for mitigating and aggravating factors which influence the panel on what sanctions they award. Step 3 is that the panel decides what sanctions should apply and write this up into the decision. Step number 4, that final decision with sanctions is released to parties and then made publicly shortly thereafter. And lastly, typically you may get an appeal process which starts after that. So of course what we're saying is that this process is far from over. We know that whatever decision is made, whatever sanctions are imposed, Man City will fight it. They will appeal and they will fight and they will fight. And this has been their strategy all throughout. As mentioned with the case UEFA made against them, Man City will keep this thing going on because they have the financial power, they have the lawyers, they can drag this thing for as long as possible. And this goes to say that does money equal might? Can you just use your financial power and abuse the system? And this is what Man City are doing. They are claiming to be bigger than the system, in my opinion. Man City is tarnishing the reputation of the Premier League. They have tarnished it and they continue to do so. Call me biased. Yes, I am biased because I'm an Arsenal fan. But I believe that Man City should be punished if found guilty. And that process should not be delayed anymore. Will we get the news as soon as June? I don't know. You tell me. But from what I've been reading online, many pundits, many people are coming out and saying, yes, the decision is imminent. And we could find out as soon as June. Let me know your comments, your thoughts below. Do you think that Man City will be found guilty? Do you think that the news will come out as soon as June? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, if you haven't yet, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave us your thoughts in the comments below. Until next one, bye for now.